Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. I'm using a wireless mic. Let me make sure it's working. Having some internet issues. It appears to be working. Okay. So, I was gonna say, I think StreamYard's having some issues because I'm getting feedback in my earbud, but playback appears to be okay. So, all right. So, I was just outside. Apologize for that. StreamYard. I want to get away from StreamYard. It's so easy. It's gonna be a hassle to get set up with something else. I got set up with another company called OneStream Live, but that's a kind of a pain in the ass too. But StreamYard's so easy. But I wanted to get into the S25 Edge. I was going through some numbers. Well, I take that back. There are no numbers, but there's a couple of articles out saying how this is already a flop. How the sales for this are very, very stagnant, that this is not selling well. And the more I use it, the more I really like it. So I just got back. It's currently 97 outside today. 97. Hot as hell outside. I just got back from being outside. I sold the phone and I went to go take some 4K video, 60 frames per second, try to get this thing to overheat. Now, did it get hot? Yes, but that's normal with every phone. If you're going to be out in damn near 100-degree weather, any phone is going to get hot. Now, it wasn't S25 ultra hot. It wasn't hot to the touch like some phones have been in the past. It held up perfectly fine. Did not shut down. I've had phones shut down on me in the past. They get so hot. So it passed my heat test. Right, I took tons of 4K video outside. Normally that's the real camera test. That's how you can tell, at least for me here in South Texas, how you can tell if the device will get too hot, and you'll get that notification that says the camera is shutting down because the device is too hot. This passed the test. So that was my real last test of this device. Now, so what's the pros and cons, right? I'm trying to word it right. The cons, there's a lot of pros to this and only a few cons. So the number one hit against this is, you guessed it, the small battery. But that really hasn't been an issue for me. It stays charged, it stays on for just as long as my other devices. Now, I don't necessarily get the same screen on time, let's say as a OnePlus 13 or a Pixel 9 Pro XL, but it's right up there. I think I got 7 hours and 11 minutes of screen on time. Let's see, I think it was 2 days ago. So the battery is really not an issue, and that was my number one thing that I was worried about, is the battery. So let me see what day that was. That was, all right, so get this. Yesterday, what's today, the 7th? Yesterday, the 6th, Friday, I used 100% of my battery from 100 to 0, and I've been doing that lately. Now this, if you're unaware, and most people do, but some don't, your phone learns how you use it over the span of about a week, possibly 10 days, but somewhere between 5 to 10 days, it'll learn your usage and then optimize the phone for your usage, optimize the battery, try to get as much battery life as it can. It'll put apps to sleep that you don't use, and the apps that you do use, it'll optimize it. So check this out. So it's been, yesterday would be 8 days. So today would be 9 days. So I'm right on the cusp of where I should be getting, you should be seeing decent battery life. Check this out, and I'll show you. I got 8 hours and 38 minutes of screen on time. 8 hours and 38 minutes of screen on time. Let me see if you can see this. So I used 100% of the battery. That was yesterday. 8 hours, 38 minutes of screen on time. 8 hours, 40 minutes of screen off time. Pretty freaking good. So, I mean, that's right on par with any other phone. So the battery is not an issue. The battery life, which I thought that was the number one thing that was going to be the issue. But it's not a perfect phone. No phone is perfect. There's been a handful of phones that I absolutely love, right? Where it really pains me to sell it, or I don't want it, or it pains me to trade it in, right? Like when you're upgrading your device, I'm like, God, I love this phone so much. I hope the phone I'm getting for this doesn't suck, because I'm gonna really kick myself in the ass. The only thing that has gotten on my nerves is the charging speed. Now, it only charges at 25 watts. Now, why Samsung chose 5 watts for this device, I have no idea. I wish they would at least bump it up to 45 watts. I think what Samsung is doing is, I think they're playing it safe. And I think they're playing it safe a little too much, if that makes sense. Now, we all know that fiasco that they had with the Note 7, the exploding phone, quote unquote. I know that's been a few years, and there's a lot of time in between now and that exploding Note 7 series. And ever since then, how long ago was that? When was the Note 7 put out? Let me see. Note 7 release date. (2016) August 19, 2016. So that's almost 9 years ago. So I think Samsung, over that span of the last 9 years, I think they've been playing it safe, almost a little too safe. And I think that's the reason for this charging, because they're entering waters that nobody has entered, right? Apple is about to enter these waters of thin phones, making them as thin as possible. And I think Samsung's playing it safe because, for one thing, they don't want to have that same fiasco again. But it is so thin that there has to be some precaution on Samsung's side. Now, what I would like to see for the S26 Edge, and that's assuming they make an S26 Edge, this could be a one-off, which I hope it's not, but we'll get into sales in a second. I think the upgrades we're looking at with the S26 Edge is a silicon carbon battery, and I would like to see faster charging. Now, will Samsung bump that from 25 to 45? I hope so, but it may just be from 25 to 35 watts. Now, charge is pretty slow, and again, that's the one thing that bugs me. I don't care that it doesn't have a telephoto lens, right? The cameras have been pretty good. Now, it's obvious without a telephoto lens, when you zoom in a lot, the quality drops off the farther you zoom. But from 1x to 5x or 6x, I think it's on par with most other phones, excluding a Pixel, because Pixels are the best camera phones. But with any other phone, even the S25 Ultra, I believe it's on par, because it does have that 200 megapixel sensor. But anything you zoom in after 5x, I think is 5 or 6x is when it drops. Not a lot, not significantly, but just enough, right? But most people don't take photos of over 5x or 6x. So the charging's been the only thing. So there were a couple times when I get it down to 0 and I plug it back in. Been a couple times where I plug it in and it seems like it's on the charger forever and it's still not charged. So I think it takes about an hour and a half to charge it, which is too long, especially when there's OnePlus phones out there that charge from 0 to 100 in 20 minutes, essentially. But I don't expect them to jump to that faster charging. But you got to give us something, Samsung. You got to give us something for the Edge 2.0, right? But other than that, it's been fine. Battery life is not an issue. The display is beautiful. It's lightweight. I forget it's in my pocket. It's very thin. It does not get hot like the S25 Ultra does. And I think they made a really, really good phone. And I can actually now officially recommend it to people, to viewers that are thinking about getting it. I think it's a green light. It's a go. And I wanted to wait about a week or so, right about to this point, before I recommend it. Should people buy it or should people not buy it? Because again, I wanted that battery life to get optimized to really see what that battery can do. And yesterday, now that I got 8 hours and 38 minutes of screen on time on a full charge, wow, if you would have told me that a month ago when we knew this device was coming out, that I was going to get 8 hours and 38 minutes of screen on time, my head would have exploded. I would have not believed you, period, hands down. Just no, there's no way. Well, yes way, they made it possible. Now, one thing I will recommend, since it does charge slower than most other phones. So this thing, when you wake up in the morning, let's say you plug it in at night, right? And let's say you get up in the morning. Here's another tip. I would not, in the most Android flagship phones, they have a option in the battery settings where you can limit it to only charge to 80% to preserve that battery. I would not choose that option, and I never do in the first place. I want my devices to go to 100%. But if you're one of those people that charges it to 80 to try to preserve battery life, I would suggest you not do that on this phone, just because you're going to want that extra 20% of battery life. But let's say you wake up in the morning when you get ready, typical 9 to 5 scenario, right? You wake up, I don't know, 9 to 5, what time do people normally wake? Jesus, it's been so long since I had a 9 to 5. Let's see, 6 a.m. maybe, 3 hours to get to work. 3 hours to get ready. So maybe you do a little workout, you eat breakfast, you get ready, you do your triple S's, shower and shave. Let's say you keep it on the charger until you, do most people just pull it right off the charger, or do you get up and do your stuff? Well, anyways, let's say typical 9 to 5, I would certainly charge it to 100%, so don't keep that. So turn off the battery protection when it comes to charging. This will last you a full day, meaning you get up on 100%, you leave the house at 100%, we'll just say that. You get to work, you come home, if you get off at 5, let's say you get home at 6, you should be in the 30% range, right? Which should last you through dinner and majority into the night. Even what I recommend doing when some people have battery life issues, here's a little quick tip. Right when you get home, plug your phone in. So like right when you get home, sometimes, right, not every time, but there's some times where you're doing something important on your phone and you have to jump on your phone right when you get home. But most people, when they get home, you want to kick off your shoes, you want to take off your work clothes, what have you. Just plug your phone in. Right when you walk in the door, plug your phone in. If you're at 25%, give it some extra juice to maybe 35 to 45%. Again, this does charge slow. So I'm not saying you have to map your day around charging times, but if you get in the habit of at least plugging it in right when you get home before you jump on your phone again, I mean, per person's gonna vary, but you know, may take may give you an extra 20% boost for 20 minutes on the charger or something like that. It'll help you at least get to at nighttime when you go to sleep and plug it in. Not saying you have to, because at this rate, it lasted me with that battery charge. So there was 8 hours of screen on time, 8 hours and 38 minutes of screen on time, 8 hours and 40 minutes of screen off time. So it essentially lasted for 17 hours, over 17 hours of total charge. So that's more than enough to last you a full day. So Samsung was not lying, which I thought they were stretching the truth a little bit when this first came out. It said, oh, it'll last you a full day, meaning from when you wake up to when you go to sleep. We're kind of like, huh? How is that even possible? It's possible. It's possible. And next year, it should be even better. But let's get into that. So, into the sales, right? What's going on? Appreciate you joining me. How you doing? All right? Just tuned in? Cool. Appreciate having you. So that brings us to sales, right? There's a new report out that says this is not selling well. And no matter where I turn, I keep on seeing, and I'm gonna pull up this Reddit page here. Oh shit, I thought I just had it. Hang on. No matter where you turn, this phone gets a ton of hate. I don't know why. And the most common comment that I see is nobody asked for that phone. Well, I did. And I know I'm not the average person, but when we got rumors that they were making this phone, I could not wait. I got so very excited. But what did I tell you? I said the success of this phone is going to depend on how long it can stay charged. And so far, no issues there. And like I just went outside and did my 4K video test at 97-degree heat, passed with flying colors. I mean, it got warm, but it did not get hot. Now, I cannot say the same thing with the S25 Ultra. That thing damn near catches on fire, it gets so hot. I've had Pixel, what's the last Pixel? Now, Google has since, I got on Google a lot in the past couple of years because my 6 Pro XL and my 7 Pro XL would actually overheat when it got hot outside filming video, and it did not even have to be 4K, just regular any video, 1080p. The camera app would shut down, it would get so hot. Now, they fixed that in the 8 series. They introduced vapor chambers, and in the 9 series, it got even bigger vapor chamber. So Google has adjusted to that. And I think the real thing that Samsung did here that was very, very smart, you certainly have to tip your hats to the Samsung engineers. Just removing that one core. Just removing that one core out of the Snapdragon 8 Elite is, I think, the key for this thing not overheating. Now, let me show you this. Let me pull over this tab right here. It's crazy. Let me show you. So check this out. Let me share this screen. So apparently it's not selling well. Now, I think it's not selling well because it's one of those phones where it almost seems too good to be true. And I say that because you see the battery size and immediately you write it off. I'm guilty of that as well. You just immediately write it off, and there's no way it's gonna last me a whole day. Oh, it's missing a telephoto lens. That's gonna suck. It takes pretty good photos. And it's lasting me all day, right? And I think, and I'm a heavy user. I think an average person, I'm not shitting you, I think an average person of a typical usage, meaning light usage here and there, YouTube here and there, no heavy gaming, no heavy YouTube, I think you can push this into a day 2. Now I wouldn't do that because it's going to be dead for the next, for whenever it dies on the second day, it's going to be dead. It's going to be charging for a while because it is charged a little slow, but it is possible in my opinion. Let me share this screen real quick. So, can y'all still hear me okay? Let me make sure. I'm using this wireless mic here, and I just want to make sure you can hear me all right. Okay, we're good. Sorry about that. So check this out. Sales. Okay, perfect. Appreciate it. So Samsung, it's interesting because in South Korea, not in the US, during the pre-sale time, so right before, you know, those 2 weeks whenever they release a flagship phone like the S25 series, S24 series, 23, 22, 21, so on and so on, Samsung will always, or they have always released pre-sale numbers, meaning those 2 weeks before they actually go up for sale in stores. They'll always release sales numbers, but there's a catch, not for the US market, but for the South Korean market. I don't know why, but they've just always done that. And that's how we can kind of tell how well a phone is selling, or it will sell, as far as how many pre-orders have been made, right? This year, Samsung did announce sales for the S25 series, but there's a catch, but not for this, not for the Edge. Remember, the Edge came out a couple months, 3 months after the S25 series was released. And I don't know if they're not releasing pre-sale information because it wasn't officially released with their flagship series, or if they don't want people to know that this is not selling well. So a Samsung insider claims, or not a Samsung insider, excuse me, an industry insider claims the Edge is struggling to sell. New report claims that the phone is not living up to Samsung's expectations on early sales, and the new slim phone did not seem to appeal to a large crowd and is selling at a slower pace. So that's basically what the article says. Now I'm going to roll this into the Reddit thread, which is pretty fun. I don't know. I guess I'm late to the party. I just kind of got into Reddit, and I don't spend a lot of time on it, but every now and then I don't get on there to post stuff, although I do have a page, eSIMstudios Reddit thread, but I mainly get on there to see what the temperature is on certain devices, or a lot of times I'll go in there just to help people. Like if people have questions, I'll just find a thread in regards to phones and stuff, and I'll just answer a lot of people's questions. But I'm kind of late to the party on Reddit, but if you go and check this thread out right here, this is one of the larger threads on the S25 Edge. So what are your thoughts on the S25 Edge is the title of this thread. And if you go through some of these comments, like look at this one right here. And maybe I should ask, right? Maybe I'm not going to do it now, but maybe later today or tomorrow, because a lot of these people say, oh, it sucks, the battery's not big enough. Look at some of these comments. Now, some of these are real head scratchers, and some of these I think have valid concerns, but I guarantee you, if I gave this phone to one of these commenters and said, hey, use this for a couple weeks and give it back to me when you're done, I guarantee you their opinion would change. Not necessarily do a complete 180, but it would be different. And it's one of those phones you really got to use and put your hands on and get some good usage out of it. Again, this is my first week. I think I'm on day 8 or 9 of having this, and I think this is a fantastic phone. Look, check this out. So this person said it is too much like iPhone in design. Huh? iPhone. The only thing that this is iPhone, I guess they mean the cameras, the way the cameras are right here, like the iPhone 16, but that's just the cameras. That's not the whole device. Like, no, this does not look like an iPhone. Sacrifices made to make it so thin, but it's not like world-changing thin. Well, if you go back to my unboxing video, the very first thing I did, and I did not see this at Best Buy, but the very first time I saw this in real life is when it was shipped to me. The first thing I said when I picked it up is I was more shocked of how light the phone is than how thin it is. Because this thing feels like you're literally picking up a piece of paper. It's absolutely incredible how lightweight this is. And check this out. He also states they need to work on getting a 6K battery, milliamp per hour battery in the Ultra. Yeah, they're working on it. I can trust you that. They are hard at work at doing that. And they will introduce a silicone battery, 6K, a 6K silicone carbon battery in the S26 Ultra. So have no worries, they're on it. This person says, cool to see. Here's the world famous comment. Nobody asked for it. Pretty impractical to daily drive. Well, that's basically what I was testing this first full week of using it, and I'm using it as my daily driver, and there's been no issues. So it's been same. Like, the only thing that I have negative to say about it is the charging speeds are a little slow, but I'm kind of used because the Pixel is not that much faster charging. Now, if you go from a OnePlus phone to this phone, yeah, you're gonna see a huge difference. But I work from home. I don't plug it in and sit there and twiddle my fingers counting, come on, come on, come on. I work from home, I plug it in when I need to, and that's that. So it is very practical for daily use. So that comment was basically invalid. And this person says, I'd rather they use the money to support and fine-tune the UI. Huh. Interesting comment. This is more important to make people stay in the field. What the hell is he talking about? Not to come out with a slimmer phone with worse off specs, but then sell it as the same price as its identical twin. What identical twin are they talking about? Because the S25 Plus is not an identical twin. Yes, it has a bigger battery, and it's the same thickness as any other phone. So I'm not really sure what they're talking about here. But then, look, it has flagship specs, so you can't expect them to sell this for $700. Has a flagship CPU, flagship display, flagship camera sensor. Speakers are really good. The only thing that's small on it, and you can't really count that against a flagship spec, is the battery. But that's not even an issue. I got damn near 9 hours of screen on time on this yesterday. So it's a flagship phone, and that's why it's priced as such. But look, you can get this for free. You can get this phone for free. T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon are all giving this phone away for free. So, I mean, it's not. And look, this next person, overpriced trash. Interesting. Let's see. And this person says, I'm surprised that I'm surprised it's disliked. And this other person says, because it's true. Samsung bros agree with me on this one. I'm a Samsung bro, and I do not agree with this person. But let me put it out there. I'm also a Pixel stan. I'm also a OnePlus fanboy. I love all of these, but I will call out dumb stuff when I see it. But I love all of these flagship phones. I'm a fan of all these. Cash grab to get out ahead of Apple in their upcoming Air variant iPhone. Now, this is an interesting comment because it is half of the way true. So, is it a cash grab? Yes, but guess what? Every product they put out is a cash grab. Did they try and put it out before Apple's iPhone 17 Air variant? Yes. And if I was in charge of Samsung, I would do the same thing. And you would be too. You would be pressured from the board of directors to put out a competing phone and faster, because that's business. Now, I think Apple's iPhone 17 Air is going to flop. Now, why do I say that? I think that one's going to have battery issues. I was shocked that they could squeeze this much battery life, Samsung, out of a 3,900 mAh battery. The iPhone 17 Air is going to have a 2,700 mAh battery. How the hell are you expected to use that a full day? And we got word that the screen on the iPhone 17 Air and iPhone 17 are not going to be ProMotion. Now, it will have 120 hertz, even though we know it's only about 80 to 82 hertz. But here's the catch. It's not going to be variable. So that means with all these flagship Android phones, they have 120 hertz refresh rate. But guess what? When you're not using the phone, or when you're not touching it and you're reading something on the screen, it goes down to 1 hertz to try and conserve battery life. The new iPhone 17 and 17 Air are going to be stuck at 120 or 82 in the real world. But that means it's not going to go down to 1. It's not going to vary. So it's going to be balls to the wall. It's going to be balls to the wall, high refresh rate. So that battery, that small 2,700 mAh battery in the iPhone 17 Air, is going to get used up quick. Now, one major factor that also nobody's talking about this phone on the edge is the new display. This new M14 Samsung OLED display is so energy efficient. It does not pull a lot of power from the battery. Very, very efficient. It uses far less energy than the remaining S25 series, because this is a brand new display. The S25, the S25 Plus, the S25 Ultra, they do not have this display. It is, and I'm not talking about the glass, but that's true too. It even has new Gorilla Glass that the other S25 series are not using. But this has a brand new display where the actual OLEDs are. It is very, very, very energy efficient, meaning it just barely sips any power from the battery. And I think that's where you see most of your battery life from, I think, is the energy efficient display. Now, let's see. I see it has less features. Does it have less features? No, it doesn't have less features. I mean, it doesn't have an S Pen, but neither does the S25 or S25 Plus. Smaller battery. Again, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse. That's not an issue anymore. Still a massive camera bump. Is that massive to you? It's not a massive camera bump. I don't really see the point personally. Well, it's your loss, I guess. Where is the edge? Well, it's right here in my hand. This person says, I'd rather get the S25 Ultra. Okay, hey, if you would rather have the Ultra over the Edge, hey, more power to you. I get that, right? My wife, she's using the Ultra. All right. When I get this, I said, hey, you want the Ultra? She said, sure. So I gave her the Ultra. Some people want the Ultra with the S Pen, and some want the slim phone. This person says, I got the S25 Plus because I don't care about the S Pen or camera quality, but the chipset. Man, that's what I want. Power and efficiency for years to come. The Plus is not as power as Ultra, but if you're talking about updates, sure. Huh? The power, Jesus. The Plus and the Ultra have identical CPUs, identical RAM, identical storage. So that's what I mean. A lot of people on here don't really know what they're talking about, right? Oh, this, duh, that's what this person says. So I just see a lot of misinformation put out there. And this is one of those phones where I think if you're interested, just give it a try. You have a 2-week return window, whether you get it free from T-Mobile or AT&T or Verizon or even Best Buy, or you get it through Samsung. Just return it if you don't like it, right? But I think this will change your mind, because it's certainly not necessarily changed my mind, but I'm surprised at just how long this battery is lasting. It's pretty incredible. Pretty incredible. Oh, you know what? Did y'all see that drop test? So I thought the drop test, let me see if I can pull it up. I don't want to get flagged for I guess we can watch it. Let me see. Now, I feel like they did not do this drop test justice. But let me preface this, because let me tell you what happens right off the bat. So
this is the Samsung Galaxy S25.
In this drop test, it was very unfair, because on all the other drop tests, they start out, the very first drop is from like with his arm down next to his leg. On any other phone, right? The iPhones, the S25 Ultra, right off of the bat, he drops it like right at arm's length, probably like kind of like where your waist is, or a little bit below your, kind of like where your pocket is, right? So he'll start from there, do a couple drops there, then he'll do it from his waist, a couple drops there, then he'll do it from chest high, a couple drops there, then he'll do it from eye level, a couple drops there, and then he'll do it like up here, then he'll hang it way over his head and then do a couple drops from there on any other test, right? And then they typically break after a couple drops from waist high, but he continues to do the test, right? Now, Gorilla Glass and Samsung put out a press release before this was launched, this S25 Edge. This has a brand new Gorilla Glass Ceramic 2. And they said they dropped it over 1,000 times at 1 meter height, and it did not break. And I was like, damn, 1,000 times from 1 meter, and it did not break. I was like, that's pretty freaking badass. Like, does that mean no screen protector? No case? Maybe? Well, maybe not that far, but no screen protector? Yeah, possibly. And I was like, how are they gonna prove that? You know, they don't have any video of it. And of course, they can say whatever they want, but so I had that in mind, right? So in this drop test, this guy, this channel, doesn't start down below where he starts out all of his other testing. He doesn't even start at waist high. He doesn't even start at the first drop from his chest. He does his very first drop from eye level or just above his head. The very first drop. I'm like, how stupid is that? Of course it's gonna break on the very first drop. Samsung said it was rated at 1,000 drops at 1 meter. That's 3.3 feet. Let's see. Gotta keep a trusty measuring stick here. That's basically 3.3 feet. This is 3.3 feet. I'm 6 feet tall, so 3 feet is like right here, where like the bottom of your pocket, right? Like that's 3 feet right there. So that's a meter. So Samsung said you could drop this phone from 1 meter, 3 feet, 1,000 times, and the display did not break. So what does this guy do? This guy in the video basically puts it at 6 feet. Basically puts it at 6 feet right at eye level and drops it. So I'm like, dude, what do you, oh God. Let's see, let me play it real quick and see.
Edge drop test. Let's see how durable Samsung's thinnest.
I don't want to play too much of it and get flagged. But let's watch this real quick. Yeah. See his very first drop. Watch. Okay, let's roll into it. Watch this, dude. And it broke on the first drop. So now all these online publications, see, you got a crack right there. Check that out. You see that? Cracked right there on the very first drop, right at eye level. Why are you starting out your very first drop at eye level when literally I've seen a bunch of his videos and he always starts out the very first drop, always does it incremental heights. And it's not by like drop 20 that he does eye level drop. So I don't understand why he would start off anyways. I just thought it was unfair. And now all you see in all these online publications, I've seen online, oh, the new S25 Edge is not living up to its drop test claims. Like, of course not. Of course it's not. You're dropping it from 6 feet high, right? It's rated at 3 feet, not 6 feet, right? How many people are going to drop it from 6 feet high? Nobody. Most drops are going to be from 3 to 4 feet, right around where your pocket area is, right around where your waist is, or even if it's not in your pocket, you're holding your phone probably 3 to 4 feet off the ground. That's where you're going to get 99% of your drops, is that 3 to 4 foot range. And Samsung claims it's not breakable in that let's say 3 to 4 foot range, but from 3 feet, they're saying it's unbreakable. So very unfair for them to do this, and especially for the online publications to basically call out Samsung saying that their claims are not true. No, their claims are not. I'm not going to test it on mine, but until I see a drop test video from 3 feet where your waist is, I'm not going to take it serious. And of course, it continues to drop it and drop it and drop it. And of course, it continues to get busted up and busted up and busted up. So, kind of unfair. But I'm kind of surprised to see this only get, how many views does it have? It's only got 10K views in 3 days. I'm kind of surprised by that. Only 236 likes. He has over basically a quarter million subscribers and only 10K watched it. Kind of low in my opinion, but that's just me. Let's see here. Is there anything else going on in news? Before we get out of here. Let's see. I know I don't do any gaming content. What to expect from Apple WWDC 2025. So what's interesting on the Apple front is that Apple's changing the naming, right? And it looks like they're not just changing the name of iOS. So, I think right now they're at iOS 18, I don't know, 0.4, something like that. Well, it looks like Apple is going to change the name of their iOS. They're going to name it. They're going to name it after the year, essentially. Kind of like what Samsung has done with their S25 series. You remember we had the S9, S10, but there was no S11. They automatically jumped to S20 for 2020, and then the S21 came out in the year 2021, and so on and so on. Well, they're going to do that with their iOS. So instead of going from iOS 18 to upcoming iOS 19, they're jumping straight into iOS 26. And I guess that's for, I guess technically it should be for 25, but so why are they naming it 26? At least that's what I heard. That's why they were doing it. But they're not only changing the name of iOS, they're also, it looks like they could be changing the names of their iPhones. So to kind of mirror the naming and or branding of their laptops and tablets. So as you know, you can get a MacBook Air, MacBook Pro, right? Every year you get a MacBook Pro. Every year there's a new MacBook Pro. Every year there's a new MacBook Air. And then you can have an iPad Pro. Every year iPad Air, right? Or iPad Mini. And that's it. There's no number branding. So iPhone 14, iPhone 15, iPhone 16. It looks like, now I'm not saying they're going to do it for sure, but I've heard rumors with them changing the naming of iOS, it looks like they're going to change the names of these iPhones here in the future to just iPhone. And then you'll have to have a parentheses next to it for the year, right? Just like MacBooks. So you're going to have the iPhone. You're going to have the iPhone Air. Just like MacBook Air, just like iPad Air, you're going to have an iPhone Air with the parentheses 2025. So instead of having iPhone 17 Air, it's just going to be iPhone Air. Remember, there's no Plus this year, so then you're going to have an iPhone Pro and iPhone Pro Max. Trying to, I guess, getting away from the number scheme and just going to have to start using parentheses next to help identify what year these models come out in, which is, I get it, but they've been on the number scheme for the phones for essentially 16 years. So I get why they're doing it, because all their other products, if you look at their other products, the iPhones are the odd man out, because the iPhones are their only products that they actually have a number system linked to it. All the other products are just a name. So I thought that was interesting, but don't be surprised if they do that with this upcoming iPhone release, right? I was going to say iPhone 17 release, but if they don't call it the iPhone 17, it won't be an iPhone 17. But you get the point. Let's see. Not much else going on in the news. I hope everybody's doing okay. I sent out the cases. If you were one of the lucky people to get a case on the previous live stream, I sent those out so you can check your tracking number. And I still have a number of cases left over. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to set a schedule. I'm actually going to set a schedule for live stream and for uploaded content, but live stream is what is a starting time is more important, right? So I'm going to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We're going to live stream at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, we're going to go live. Typically, it'll be I'm trying to shoot for about an hour. We're right under an hour right now, because I don't want to make them too long and just, blabble on. But you're going to get more on a stricter schedule, so you know when we are going to go live. Just in the back of your head, we'll hit it like we'll just treat it like a routine, like a typical news outlet, and go that and move forward that way. Now, as far as the giveaways, I'll probably do those at random, unless you want to do like Friday Fun Day or Friday giveaway, where we can maybe every Friday do it. But right now, we'll just move forward. It'll be random. So I have off to my right here, I got a bunch of cases. You know what? Let me see if. Hang on, let me make sure I have some Pixel stuff left over. Hang on one second. Yeah, I got plenty of cases left, so we'll do giveaways at random and move forward that way. But it's just easier for me to get. Well, it's not easier for me, but I'm gonna really try and stick to a release schedule for when we go live, and then same thing with an upload schedule. So for my schedule, it'll be every other day go live. And then on those off days, every other day will be either a live stream or a video upload, and that gives me a little more time to edit some of the videos, because sometimes I'll just record and then literally just upload it right after I'm done recording. But I think they look a little more visually appealing if I put edit a little something, not necessarily edit photos, but I'm talking about like graphics, right? And stuff like that. Just give it a nicer touch. I think it's a better quality video if I can spend an extra hour cutting out stuff that doesn't need to be in there. I say a lot. Cutting that out, putting graphics on there. So I think that I'm going to try to get the quality of the videos that I upload a little better, and then we'll get these live streams. We'll knock them out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So I guess that'll do it for us right now, and I do appreciate the time. Thank you very much. I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of the weekend, and we will start with our new schedule on Monday. We'll go live at 3 p.m. and I do appreciate the time. We'll keep that on a normal schedule and grow this thing to get really big, and the bigger we get, the bigger and better giveaways we can have for all of our viewers. So I'll get out of there on that. Do appreciate the time, and I will see y'all probably tomorrow, maybe not, but definitely see you Monday. Peace.